So I thought if it's okay, I would film a response to this. The question was about how do I consistently stay on plan. The main thing is I had a lot of weight to lose. I was nearly 20 stone and I am due to have an operation a bit later in this year, hopefully in the next couple of months. And I want it to be the least anaesthetic risk possible, and that is always on my mind. I'm sort of taking some daily medication at the minute in preparation, and sort of every day when I'm taking that tablet I'm reminded that I'm getting closer to the goal of having this operation. So that's keeping it in the forefront of my mind sort of when I wake up every morning. However, I do have a few rules that I follow and I think they will hopefully be helpful to everyone else, so I'm going to put them here. So the first thing is I make sure that I'm not mindlessly eating. For me, a big thing in the past was I have to eat a lot in my car. I'm a community midwife. I'm driving around between houses all day. And although I do have an office, it's not always convenient to go back to there to have your dinner. So sometimes I do eat in the car, and I'd got into a really bad habit of just mindlessly having a bit of all sorts as I was driving. And, you know, I'd go get a meal deal, but with that I'd maybe get some like chocolate or some biscuits, and the whole packet had been gone at the end of the drive, and I wouldn't remember having them. I wouldn't think, oh, that was a really delicious biscuit. They were gone. Empty calories, gone. So always sort of trying mindfully, making sure that I'm sat down at the table, especially when you're cooking. That's another time where I'd just nibble things. I'd see stuff. We have all the kitchen cupboards around you, and you think, oh, just have a little bit of this. And actually, if you're cooking, hopefully it's going to be, tea time pretty quick. But also, that's another time where you can eat it and forgetting that it's happened. So write everything down, take a picture of everything, whatever your plan is. But yeah, try and be a bit more mindful about what's going on. I'm going to look at my list because I did write a couple of things down. My other thing is always trying to get speed on my plate. So trying to get at least 30% where it makes sense. Sometimes it just does not make sense to have any speed. But yeah, where it makes sense, try and make sure you've got your speed on your plate and that you're eating that within your meal. Not at the end sort of begrudgingly thinking, oh, I've got to have a bit of this. And the other thing is being a bit more mindful of your portion size. So I do sometimes, notice that people have like a really big mouthful of rice and a really big mouthful of whatever they've got on top of it, or pasta, and that's really, really good if you've got like a really healthy appetite. But for me, I try to just reduce my portions a little bit because I was overeating and I'd feel quite uncomfortably full, whereas after the first sort of week or so, I was feeling quite full after smaller size portions. Trying to make sure that you weigh absolutely everything, especially your A's, B's and C's. I see people quite often here doing little subs like, oh, I'm just going to count this as a healthy extra B. If it's not, it's not. Just count it as C's. But I see that quite a lot of people sort of substituting stuff, not weighing it. It is a habit to get into. I just stick my plate on top of the scales. They're in the kitchen cupboard right next to where I'm dishing up food every night. And if I'm going to put something on, I'm not using extra bowls and things like that. I just stick that plate on the scales and weigh it, so it's done there and then. And then my last thing, and I suppose one of the main things, is always making sure that you've got like a low sin or a sin-free meal, ideally in your cupboard so that you can get it anytime. So for me, I usually make like a big bowl of noodles and just add whatever toppings I want. Sometimes that will include some sins, sometimes I'll keep it quite low sins, but I know that usually I've got the stuff in the freezer and the stuff in the store cupboard that I can make that at any time. And I think sometimes that's the trap that you get into, is you go to make tea that night, you haven't defrosted the chicken, or you haven't prepped something that you needed to do before, or you look at a recipe and you think, oh God, it takes 4 hours, so I'll just eat something else. But trying to make sure that you've got a backup meal in. I know that Slim and Will do some like frozen meals, so it could be something like that as well. But to me, it's usually I'll go for like noodles, or I'll make a big salad or something like that. But having some of the stuff in so that you're able to do it every time. So hope that helps. Bye.